Hello everybody, it's the last of our 4 offensive videos. This one is going to be on yellow, and yellow is going to be our mesh route. Okay, and basically this is the same route with a little tweaks to fit what we're doing run and shoot wise. This is the same route that Mike Leach has made a living with. Of course, Mike Leach being the head coach at University of Washington State, and before that at Texas Tech, and considered one of the best pass guys in the country. And this is his favorite route. He runs this route over and over and over. And we're going to run it with one addition of how we're going to run the outside, what he calls corner. We're going to run the choice route. But let's quickly get into it. We will talk about yellow. We'll talk about yellow out of empty, and then we'll talk about yellow out of trips, and what we're going to do out of trips with yellow. All right, now, first of all, on the routes, the Z on the outside has a choice. The X on the outside has a choice. And if you remember black, we've already covered the choice route. I will quickly review it as I go through, but they have a choice. The B also has a seam read. All right, just like he's been doing in our other videos, he's got a seam read. It most likely is going to turn into a post against most looks, but he's got a seam read. All right, the C will run the mesh route, and the A will run the mesh route. And a key point here is that C will always set the mesh. Okay, C will always set the mesh. All right, now let's go over the route. This is against cover 3. Oh, by the way, it will be gun plus 3 at quarterback. We will either be 51 or 50 up front, which we've already talked about that. But and I'll go over a video later on pass protection. But that's what we've got. So basically, he's 1, he's 2. He's 3. If we're in 51, I've been drawing everything up on 51. We've vertical setting up front, vertical set, 1, 2. And of course, he will belong to the quarterback because we run out of guys with the premise that we're always going to protect the inside gap first. So the tackle has 1, the guard has 2, the guard has 2, the tackle has 1, he has 3, and the quarterback has him. And we'll talk about one of the things we're going to do in practice every day is blitz pickup. So if we play these 4-4 teams that want to bring these backers, we should be good at handling it and be all right. I don't know how many 6-man boxes we're going to see at an empty, but that's going to depend on how well we throw it. I'd like to get to the point where we're not seeing as many 6-man boxes because people are afraid to play a 6-man box against us because we're that good in the passing game. But those are the routes. All right, so let me draw up the routes now. Starting on the trip side with choice. Remember on choice, it's a 7-step stem. So for the first 7 steps, we're going to push, push, push. By the way, this is going to be top of the numbers by alignment. Top of the numbers. You have to give yourself room to work out to the sideline. So top of the numbers is our alignment here. But we're going to push for 7. Against the cover 3 corner, most likely he's going to get into his back pedal. When he does, we'll hit the out route. All right, now remember on the choice, if the corner is less than 3 yards off from me, I'm going to stick it on the post. If I ever get even with him, if I'm even, I'm leaving. But most likely against this cover 3 look, the choice is going to turn into the out route. And we will have a choice on both sides, as I've already mentioned. So I'm saying this corner is bailing, this corner is bailing, push for 7, run the out. By the way, we're attacking his outside technique, push for 7, run the out. All right. If it's cover 2, or quarters, which Coach Leach sees a lot of, it becomes more of a corner type route because that's where the grass is with the safety right there. But we'll talk about that. It is an out route against cover 3. All right, and the quarterback can pick either side to throw the choice, but the choice, whether it be this side or this side, the choice is our first look. So one to either side is the choice. So you're saying, well, how does the quarterback know which side to look at? Well, it's simple. Where is the grass and leverage? Which corner is giving me the best leverage to run the out route, to run the corner? Where's my best leverage? And so we're going to pick the best leverage. Now, the B is going to run a seam read, so I'm going to push up the seam, push up the seam. Then the safety opens up, then I'm most likely going to turn it into a skinny, or if I can't get over the top of it at all, I'll turn it into a dig going over the top. Regardless, and we'll say that he got his hips turned, the safety turned his hips, and we get to the inside of him and run a skinny post. Regardless, his job is to occupy the safety and clear the middle of the field on the mesh route. Well, here comes why they call the play mesh. The mesh is going to be the C and the A. And the way we're going to do mesh is it's either 6 yards or under the mic is where the mesh is going to occur. All right? So I'm going to say that these guys are not coming for the sake of the video. And if they do, we'll have answers. We'll talk about blitz pickup here in a minute. But they're not coming now in cover 3. So we're going to go aim for 6 yards. See, he's aiming for 6 yards. He's aiming for 6 yards. And here he comes across. A always goes under. So C always sets the mesh. A or X, because we are going to run mesh out of trips with X. So A or X will always go underneath and into the other flats. Now, here's how we're going to teach mesh, okay? If it's man, sprint. And basically, how do you know if it's man? Well, if the guy's chasing you, it's man. So if I'm going across and this backer starts chasing A, he keeps running. If I'm going across and the backer starts chasing C, he keeps running. If it's zone, we're going to sit. Okay? We're going to sit. Now, we're going to sit after, not before, we cross. All right, so we're going to find a window, and we're going to set down in the window. So against this look, here's the window, here's the window. So really what's going to happen is they're going to sit there, and we're going to sit right here. Okay, so we're going to sit it down in the window, and that's why we call the play mesh. So yellow is mesh, and that's why we call it mesh. Now, we're looking to choice 1, and I don't care which side I pick to. All right? Now, in an ideal world, and this is going to be based on what our quarterbacks are capable of doing. In an ideal world, I'm going to take my 3-step drop on time, holding the ball high. If the choice is open, I'm throwing the choice route right now, just like we did in black. Choice is open, I'm throwing the choice route. But let's say that the choice is covered up. Then what, in an ideal world, the quarterback's going to come back, take a snapshot of the field, and see where the grass is. So in an ideal world, the mesh itself becomes 2. And here's what that means. Whichever guy comes open in the mesh is where we're going. Now, that does not always happen with quarterbacks. And so as we get to teaching, the mesh is going to become either would be 2 to 3 if we choose this side. So if I look to the right, then this becomes 2, this becomes 3. All right, okay? And if we go to this side, then this becomes 2, and this becomes 3. And you may be saying, well, what if the skinny post comes open? Well, after I look at my choice, let's say I choose this side, I'm looking to the left, I don't like the choice route, so I'm going to hitch up, okay? I'm looking for the mesh right here. The mesh is not there, all right? As I scan across the field, looking for 3, what comes through my peripheral? The post. So if at any time I see that we got a guy on the post running down the middle of the field, I can take my vertical shot. But we prefer to go 1 to 2 to 3, or in an ideal world, 1 mesh being 2 to 3. All right. And by the way, against man, the mesh routes themselves will become our blitz beaters. So that is mesh against cover 3. It's a great route against cover 3 because really what we're doing is putting this outside backer in a bind, because the corner is going to be bailing, giving us the choice. So if the outside backer ends up under the choice and takes away the choice, then I should have the mesh route, should be able to hit the mesh route, catch, tuck, turn, get upfield and go. All right. If the backer drops and gains depth because he hit the B or whatever, and then if I either got this, and even if I don't, I most likely have the mesh route in the flat. So it's a very good route against cover 3. Now in the videos, what we've been talking about is 1 or 3. They can play man against us. If they play man against us, it should be still should be a good route. If the corner's down, remember if I'm even, I'm leaving. So I can choose one side or the other, probably based on if they're man, based on best matchup. Do I like the matchup with X or the matchup with Z? Even, I'm leaving. If not, I've still got the post. So that becomes a very good route against cover 1. Also in cover 1, if they're going to play cover 1, then when they start chasing this mesh route across the field, all right, they start chasing the mesh route across the field, they're very likely to lose them, either get outrun, or what the mesh does is creates a rub, where the C is going to go over the top, the A is going to go underneath. Something we're going to teach is slapping hands early and just kind of doing it because that's how close we want to be to where we slap hands. Well, in the process of being that close, we're very likely to rub our defenders. So in cover 1, this is a great route in cover 1, the mesh route. So whether they're 1 or 3, we ought to feel good about our opportunity to throw the football. So let's look at 2 safeties. Okay. So let's look at it from a 2 safety point of view. So change up the defense a little bit here. Okay. 2 high safety. And let's say they're in cover 2 first. So I got a Mike linebacker right here. And then Sam and Will over here. Okay. All right. Now, obviously if it's cover 2, he's the flat defender. Flat defender, 2 safety. Safety, or half field. Mike's most likely the dropper, and then Sam or Will have the holds. All right, now let's look at the route, starting with 1. Now, obviously, we're teaching a choice route, and if you remember on the choice route, if you get an outside technique, outside leverage corner, then where's the grass? It's right here. So we're not going to necessarily run a corner like Leach does. We're just going to run automatically to the grass. We're going to run to the grass, and we're going to look for the ball in the hole. It becomes a hole throw. But to either side, if it's cover 2, you got to like your chances of throwing the ball away from the safety and hitting either X or Z in the hole. So that's our 1 read. So remember, 1 here or 1 here. All right? Now, the B very likely is not going to be able to get over the top of the safety. Okay? So he's probably going to end up either doing this or in the skinny, or if he doesn't feel like he can do that, then he can turn that into a dig and come across the field. Either way, the B is likely open, and we should be able to see him in our peripheral. Now, going back to the mesh itself. After we cross, we're underneath the mic. Remember, 6 yards, under the mic, slap hands, it's zone. We're going to sit it down. Okay? Going to sit it down. This mesh will end up right here. This mesh will end up right here. And obviously, we have a hole between the mic dropper and the hook curl player. All right? And so mesh is a very, very good cover 2 route if they're 2 safeties. All right? 4 quarters. All right? Quarters means that the corner's going to be off. Quarters, the corner's going to be off. So now we're going to change up our routes. Okay? Because they've got quarter field defenders now. Back. Quarter field defenders. Right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to push for 7 steps. Corner goes out. There we go. Push for 7 steps. Corner goes back. There we go. Okay? And really, other than that, it does not change. You know, if it's 2 high safeties, we still got the guy trying to maintain the safeties, hold the safeties. And as far as the mesh goes, If it's quarters or 2, there's really no difference in the mesh. There's really no difference in where the holes are. I've already mentioned that if they want to go 2-man, fine. If they go 2-man, then they're going to have to be able to go man on man on the outside of X and Z and still be able to run with the mesh. I like the route against 2. I like the route against 2-man. So it doesn't matter if it's 1 high safety or 2 high safeties. What matters is that we get good at the mesh, that we practice the mesh, get good at the mesh. We're already practicing the choice route on black. We get good at the choice route. The B will hold the safeties by his route. Now, they go man. We really don't change anything, including it might change where we go, okay? Because if they go man, so now we're going to put a guy here. We're going to put a guy here. All right. This guy here is going to be locked up. This guy here is going to be locked up. Safety's coming down. Okay. And then they can either play cover 0 or 1. Let's say they're in 0, so now they're going to bring more than we can block. This is the free safety, or this is the Sam. We got the free safety over here. Regardless, it's a linebacker. Try to bring more than we can block. We're still fine. On the outside, if you remember, our blitz bending route is what? Here, foot fire, release, slant. That's what we do in choice against blitz. Here, foot fire, release, slant. That's what we do against blitz. All right. On the B is still going to try to beat his guy. And then release inside. And then, of course, the mesh itself is a great man beater. Except now we're not going to sit. We're going to keep sprinting. All right. So if X or B or Z come open after beating their guys on the blitz, we can get them the ball right now. If not, we can try to gain depth and hit the mesh guy coming across. Now, a quick important note on mesh. If they bring like this backer right now, okay, then it's very likely that C, by running off the butt of B, as B runs his slant and Sam goes with him, or the safety goes with him, that Sam's going to run into it there. What is that? It's a natural pick. Here comes the backer. It's very likely now that the throw is right there real quick. That we're going to hit C on the crossing route because we've created a natural pick. Same thing over here. If this guy comes, then we very likely might hit A back right there, right now. If he's able to beat the wheel, he's got the wheel on his butt. But regardless, this is probably our most reliable and best cover 0, no safety, man beater. Now let's look at the route, and I'll draw it up these 2 safeties. Let's look at the route out of trips. Okay? Still a very good route out of trips. And I've been drawing up out of trips. It doesn't matter if it's trips or spread. So actually, I'll draw this up out of spread. Okay? Well, we got the B in a slot, C and Z out here, X out here. Okay, and I'll draw it up against 2 safeties. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, draw it up against 2 safeties. It really doesn't matter the defense. Okay. Let's look at the route. So here's what mesh is going to look like. Now, first of all, to the boundary, we're going to cut our split down. Now, normally out of spread, we would like real wide splits with C and Z. But if I'm running mesh, then we'll cut this split down a little bit, because who's our meshers? X and C. All right. So now, here we go. Remember, C always sets the mesh. It's zone. He would end up sitting. X would go under. All right. There you go. Okay, that's the mesh itself. On the outside, let's say they're in quarters again. Okay, or some kind of quarters. Push, push, push. Can't get over the top. Roll it out. Okay, obviously there is no choice to this side now because we're in trips. So the choice, so the number 1 read automatically is right over here. The number 1 read is Z. So Z on the choice is the number 1 read. All right? The B does not change. Seam read, likely to split the safeties against quarters, end up right down the middle of the field. And when the A-back's in the backfield, he's going to swing away from the trips. Okay? But it really does not change. This is 1. This side mesh would be 2, or the mesh in general would be 2. This we'd see out our peripheral, and this is our rush route. If they want to bring blitz, then it's very simply that we could swing the ball on the backside to our A-back and probably still have a very, very good play. So we still have choice out here, so if you change the coverages, we could end up with the fade. If they're even or leaving, we could up with the skinny post. But regardless, we're looking here first. This is 1. If it's man, then we're not going to sit, we're going to sprint. But C and X are going to form our mesh, and B is holding the safety. All right, so the route has not changed. We've just changed formations. And as long as we do our rules, it really should not be that big a deal. Now, I have completed black and orange and green and yellow. Okay, those are the only 4 pass plays we're going to run at this time. Of course, we've talked about some variations where switch and win off from it, but right now it's going to be the screen game and one of those 4 passes when we throw it. We will throw some rats and stuff out of our run game where we throw some quick stuff, but that's our 4 pass concepts. And the premise is simple. We want to get very, very good at our 4 routes concepts. Now, I think I'll probably do a video on screens, and then after the video on screens, I'll probably do a video on our run game. All right? But that's it for now.